Hello, how you doing? Okay, so here's the problem that you presented to me that you're struggling with, and so let's go over it real quick. All right, so we need to simplify this, and the first thing we have to do is to find what we call the LCD, or the least common denominator, right? So if you look at um, the 5, the 16, and the 8, well, we can see that the least common denominator, or the LCD, is equal to 80. Okay. All right. So what happens when you change this into a new denominator of 80? What you have to do is kind of multiply all those terms by, well, we not change them. You need to find an equivalent expression, right? So an equivalent expression means that the 4 over 5, the 5 over 16, and the 5 over 8 will change into a denominator of 80. Okay. All right, so what does that mean? So that means that the 4 over 5, right, will becomes a fraction with a denominator of 80. All you have to do is basically figure out how many times 5 goes into 80. We know it goes 16 times, so 5 times 16 is 80. So 4 times 16 will produce the new numerator of the equivalent fraction, right? So in this case, it will be 64. So in this case here, this will become 64 over 80 minus. Then now the 15 over 16, right? No, let's not forget the 15 over 16 is times 80 plus 3, right? So here, you're not changing anything because you're going to be multiplying that equivalent fraction by 80 plus 3. So it's just 15 over 16 with an equivalent fraction of, with a denominator of 80. We know that 16 times 5 is 80, so therefore 15 times 5 should be the numerator of the equivalent fraction, which gives you 75. And then the last one, 5 over 8, we're going to find the equivalent fraction of that with a denominator of 80. We know that 8 times 10 is 80, so therefore 5 times 10 is 50, and that's your equivalent fraction. So we're going to replace all those fraction by the equivalent fraction, right? So here, 15 over 16 is 75 over 80 times 80 plus 3 minus 50 over 80 times 70 minus 2. Okay? All right, so now we have to combine like terms, but we have parentheses involved, so we need to use distributive property for the last two terms. So let's do that. I do not have a calculator in front of me. Let me go get one. Let me see. Here we go. Here's my calculator. All right, so here at 64 over 80 minus 75 times 8 is 600. So we're going to put 600 t over 80, right? That's minus. And then the negative has to carry the 75, so it's the negative 75 times 3. So it's going to give me negative 225, right? So negative 225 over 80. And then I'm done with this, right? So now I go to the 50. So it's going to be negative 50 times 7. That's negative 350t. So negative 350t over 80. And then the negative times the negative is positive, so it's going to be plus. And 50 times 3 is 100. So 100 over 80. Okay, so now we can combine like terms. So the like terms are the t terms, so this one here and this one here, and everything else. Because they have the same denominator, I can just add the numerators and so on. So let's do that. So negative 600 minus 350t. So negative 600t minus 350t, that gives me negative 950t over 80. Okay, so I'm done with the t expression, right? And now what I have to do is just the regular fraction. And so what do I have here? 64 minus 225 plus 100. That's negative 61 over 80. Okay, so obviously this one here you can simplify because you can divide top and bottom by 10. So divide this by 10, the zeros cancel out, and you should get negative 95 over 8. So that's an 80 here. T, negative 95 t over 8 minus 61 over 80. So I believe that's the right answer. Let's double check. And that's it. So that's how I got the answer. Okay, so hopefully it will help you out with the process. But this one was kind of difficult, I have to admit, for the students. All right.